good morning, Norm here. We're cracking on with this restoration project today. We've got another part we need to butcher. This is the spacer for the rear axle of our Wallis and Stevens traction engine. And we're going to make a start on making a new one. So the part in question belongs to this engine. This is a 8 nominal horsepower Wallis and Stevens expansion engine 2959, named Little Lauren. And the part we're working on, it goes between here. Right, so this is the back of the engine. This is where the axle will slot through when it's all back together. As you can see, there's only one of these axle box housings. We've got another one of these we need to make up. So that's a job coming up. But we've got this one in situ and this one's been bored to suit. So the axle boxes, the big axle box that we've got in there, there's 2 of them which rise up and down in the axle box housings, and the tube we are working on basically sits in the middle, spaces them apart and keeps them from working themselves out from the housings basically. So I've actually got an axle box over there. I'll just bring it over and plonk it in there and you can see then what it is the bar will do. So I'll go grab that. Nothing's light on this engine at all. Right, so this. Right, so as you can see, this is one of the axle boxes in the housing now. Basically, we've got one of these each side. This is your main bearing for the axle, and the tube and the plate mounts up to this face and just spaces them apart. So that gives you an idea of how it all goes back together. We've got to make 2 new ones of these, and we've got to make the spacing tube. So on top of the axle box you have this big spring, and that gives you your suspension, so the axle is allowed to travel up and down when you hit big bumps. You've got your adjustment nut at the top for adjusting the suspension, and then the foot plate mounts on the top. And as you can see right on this side, you've got your gap so that can float up and down, and the gears are actually elongated gear teeth. So that allows for that difference in gear mesh. So that's what we're doing. Let's go get on with it. Right, so this is all in preparation for receiving our new axle. We've had Craig Fowler. Craig Fowler has been making us a new axle at his work. So that's due back imminently. So I thought I'd get a crack on doing everything we can do this end to get ready to put it all back together. So this is what we're working on today. I got some footage of Craig's work. He sent me some video, so I'll put that in the video here. So what it is we got to do is we got to rescue this bit of pipe. I want to remake this part. Not happy with it. Could be done a little bit better than what it is. I know it'd probably be fine, but I just feel we could do a little bit better of a job. A bit better. So I feel we could do a little bit better of a job and just make this from scratch. It's not a difficult part. Just 2 plates welded to a bit of tube. So we'll have a go at making another one. I'll bring you in closely and show you what it is that I don't like about this one before we cut it apart, and then we'll get to the work and start doing something. So is the big calipers. What you need to imagine is this has got 2 axle boxes on the end, and an axle which is going to be straight and true and on size, going through the middle of it, where you want your axle boxes to be perpendicular, parallel, square, whatever you want to say, to each other. I will be line boring it all in situ, but I would still like it pretty darn close before we do that. And if you have a look at this one, so being this is just a weldment, it was never going to be square. I don't think it was machined after the fact. So if we take our measurement from where she bolt on at the top, 0 that, and go for the one at the bottom, you can see that there is 1.5 mil out, so that's going to skew your bearings quite a drastic amount. Again, if we do the same in this plane, zero that, and that is 3 mil out. So that's, them plates are 3 mil in, and basically not parallel with each other, which is why I believe it's worth spending the time to make a new one. And what we'll do is, after it's welded, we'll machine the 2 faces so that everything is then held in line, and all the axle boxes and all the bearings and everything's all, you know, hunky-dory, in line, ready to go. I would, if I had a bit of tube, I would just replace this and just make new, but I can't find a bit of tube. This is quite a thick walled. Quite a thick wall piece of tube. It's all right size, so what I think we're going to have to do is rescue this piece of steel out of here, turn the OD, get these plates off, get some of these laser cut or flame cut, and then basically refabricate it. So let's fire up the torch. I don't want to be swinging this in the lathe, there's no need for it, so I'm just going to cut that plate off, get it almost round. We'll stick it in the big, we'll take it over to the mastiff, stick it in the mastiff, and we'll bore it out. So let's fire up the torch. Right, and we could carry on cutting the fat off of this. You know, even just grind it up. But what I think I want to do, as soon as we're going to clean up the whole thing, is just stick it in the lathe and turn this crap off. So I'm going to let that cool down. We get it in the lathe and see what happens. Right, so while that's cooling down, I've got to give a big shout out to a lad named Cliff. He's an artist. He's a proper artist, not just a piss artist. He's a proper artist, and he's done us a proper pencil drawing of little Lauren to go in the workshop. But it's too nice for the workshop, so it's down the house. I got some pictures of it here. It's down the house. It's been framed and it's hanging on the wall. I'll stick his links and everything down below in the video. He just out of the blue said he wanted to do it, and it is a really nice drawing. Like I say, proper art. He did mention that if anyone else was interested, he would be able to do the same for their engines or any drawing or any commission, really, he said. So I'll stick his links in that down below. And if anyone was interested, we could always get prints or whatnot done, you know, have a Tesla on fire behind it, put it on a t-shirt or a coffee mug, you know. So if there's any interest in that, I'll get it scanned and we can see about putting it on some stuff and having a bit of a laugh with it. But yeah, thank you, Cliff. That was top work you've done there, mate. And it looks just a job on my shelf down the house. So let's see if that part's cooled down and carry on. Right, so as you can see, we're just gripping it on the free draw on the ID, but we need some way of supporting on this end. I don't think she'd hold up to just being gripped there. So we need to find a way to get a centre in the rear end. Well, obviously, big bell centre would be the job for this, or one of them nice 4-door chucks that spin in the tailstock, something like that, but we ain't got any of that. So what I do have, which some absolute heathen made up, I don't know who done that, is this this plate, this old dividing head plate. There's all your lovely holes and everything, but someone's machined a register on it. But that register just so happens to fit perfectly in the end of the tube. So I think we should be able to use that in conjunction with this, in conjunction with this big centre. So we get that put up in the tailstock. And we just run that in. Lock that down nice and tight. And I believe that should be adequate for what we're doing. That way we got clean access to skin this whole tube, get all this crappy old welding plate off. Still pretty hot at the minute, but yeah, let's spin it up, see how true it's going to run. So that's probably 1 minute run out there. It's all over the shop really, but say 1 to 2 mil run out, we can take that off the part, that's no problem. So yeah, let's load up a tool and get the cut in. 2mm cut. I just noticed something. Thought the tailstock was moving around, but I think there might be something wrong with our large centre. You see that moving around in the bore? We have to address that at some point. You see the centre wobbling. It seems to be on the taper, not the tailstock. Right, so I'm going to have to cut to 3mm. Have another go. Might just go another straight in for a 5mm. Let's try 4. We done 2, 3. Let's go to 4. See if it'll handle that. Just a bit worried about that centre, that's all. Never noticed that before. Done the 4mm right. Got the 5. That's try that. so that's probably pushing it there. Yeah, it's just pushing the tool out with that dull insert. 5mm too much. We might actually swap to a right-handed insert and just cut that way. Let's try that. Right, it's pretty much all the weld off now. Just going to feed in one more mil, just clean that up. That insert's doing a lot better. There you go, all the weld gone. I'm going to wait to do the other side before we clean the whole lot up. But before we do that, we need to have a look at this revolving steady, or revolving centre. See what the crack is. I think our plate worked fine. I think the problem's between the taper of the tailstock and the 5 Morse. Can't understand what that problem would be. I know it's not perfect, but it doesn't look like anyone's been at it with a grinder or anything. Tell you what, let's put this bell center in. We've got a brand new sleeve there, so we'll put that in there and see if we have the same trouble. No play in that one. Seems that our centre's a bit dodgy. I have to set up and regrind it. We'll run with this one for now. I'm going to get this part flipped. We'll do the other side. Right, so with the part flipped around, we're just going to repeat the process. I'm going to bore you with that. Let's get going. Right, so that's the welds roughed off. I'm just going to take a skim across the top of here now. Right, so there's our tube. I ended up taking 3.5mm off the OD, and it still didn't quite clean up. There's just one patch there. We'll have to call that character. I don't want to have to take any more off of this. So I don't want to take any more off of this than I have to, and I don't think that's going to make no difference. What we need to do now, the idea of turning the outside was we can get the steady rest set up here, and we can do some work on the end of this pipe now without the centre in it. So let's do that. As if like that. As if like that. And just snap. And as easy as that, without any struggle whatsoever. This big heavy steady rest is bolted on, ready to go. So let's get this set. We'll move the tailstock out of the way and we'll do our end work. So what we're going to do is bring these rollers in just so it touches, then we can take our centre out. Well, as we'll start off facing the end. So while I'm here, I'm going to put a big old weld prep on for when we weld the new ones on. I think that should be sufficient. Now I'm just going to try and clean up the ID so that next time when we grab it on the inside it's going to run true. Right, that should give us enough to hang on to. Just one spot up there, but that ain't going to make no difference. Right, let's get our flip round. And there we go, there's our finished, what I'm calling axle tube. That's as much as I can do on it for the minute until we get our end plates, our profiles cut and on site. That's as much as I could do on this job. We've still got a lot going on in a minute. I know this might be jumping around a bit with these videos, but we got gear blanks happening, we've got little end straps being fabricated or smithed or blacksmithed. We've got plates for this on order, axle box housing profiles on order. So we've also got our links being done for the motion, universal, and obviously our axle and diff housing is being sorted out as we speak. So that's as much as I could do for today. So I appreciate you all sticking around, and if you want to see this finished off, you'll have to subscribe and it'll be coming up later on in one of the videos. So that's all I can do for today. So I'll see you on the next one. Cheers.